Hi, Kerosene Lamp fans out there. Had a suggestion by one of my viewers, Dan, to do a video on burner types for Alladin. So I just thought I'd start out with like prior to Alladin and go into Alladin burners separately. So basically, if you take a look at this particular lamp here, it's a center draft lamp, and the air travels through the bottom holes and works its way straight up through the top. So it's called a center draft design. Started in Europe, worked its way into America somewhere around 1860, 1870, and center drafts continued thereafter. So these just burnt wicks. So as you can see in this mammoth lamp, there's just a large wick in there, and it produces good light and a lot of heat, but not as bright as an incandescent with a mantle. So mantle lamps came around late 1800s and early 1900s in Europe and worked their way over to North America. And there's some good books out there if you're interested in collecting kerosene lamps in general. So we have this guy here, Kerosene Lamps, Center Draft Style, by Bill Corder. Of course, he's the great Alladin Knight who wrote basically the Holy Bible on Alladin lamps, which is really good, helps you identify all your Alladin burners there too. And another really good book, it's a collaboration book with Tom Small and James Christner. It's Alladin to Zio, Kerosene Mantle Lamps in Early America. So there's a lot more companies out there that sold and produced mantle center draft lamps. Now that being said, we'll go into my Alladin workshop here, and we'll look at some other lamps that we have pulled out. So Alladin really didn't invent it. They took a Practicus, a German design. I guess they bought the rights and went to Plum and Atwood, and they basically built them for them. So any metal lamp, like look at these guys over here, all those are pre side draft, so they're all center draft style lamps. The air comes up through the bottom, and these are all built by Plum and Atwood until their factory shut down around 55. They built the burners there afterwards. So the early burners relied on center draft. But the funny thing is that the reality is that long before that there was competitors. Here's an Eric and Gratz center side draft style. So you can put this into a flat wick lamp and it would burn side draft style, and this one actually has a hanger on the top for a mantle, a single wire mantle. So this has this unique key designs for lighting. Totally genius, kind of something I wish Alladin would have got into but never did. It has its problems, but this is a great German design, great little part. So they produced all this, most of their models. Here's this is a Star. Get a close look at it. This is a Star. So this was built by Plum and Atwood for private label. There's also Contracco. I have a Contracco one as well too on another lamp. It's basically a Model 1, and as you can see, it really relies on the inner wick tube coming through the font itself to hold the wick. So they did that up to model about 4, and then in 4s they changed. Then they ran 5, 6, 7s, all the way up to like here's a number 12. Font. This would be for like a vase lamp or a floor lamp. So those are the early, center draft style. I don't burn these. I just keep them around for collector's items. Here's a side draft style 1, 2 as well. I think this is, built around 1910, 1915 by Plum again for a private label company. I mean, I could do the research. It's in the book. I just got to go back and read it up. So Alladin mantle lamps, in 1932, they built a Model A, which kind of looks very much like the Model B, as you see here. Difference being is the wick raiser is different. I guess they had the Ottawa Agreement where Britain was going to basically tool for Alladin lamps opposed to buying German product because of the Nazi regime that was coming up. So they sent the Model A tooling off to England, and that's what they built all the Model A's and the Super Alladin in England, and then they came out with the Model B, which was just a slightly refined, different model with a different wick razor mechanism on the bottom. So that's your friendly Model B. Good burner. If you're gonna burn something old, use a Model B, or pretty much don't burn anything else. So here's a Model C. It's actually a Nashville. So 1955, I guess Plymouth Atwood stopped. Their factory got wiped out, so Alladin Industries had moved to Nashville, so they were getting them done locally. This is not the correct burner for correct color gallery, I should say, for the top, but it is correct. And they run these weird air hole diffuser holes in it. Honestly, all the bad rap these things get, I've never even tried. There's lots of other good ones out there. So, I mean, I have these new in the box, and I don't see much value to them. A couple things. So basically, that's going to get us to Model Cs. After that, they went Model 21s and Model 23s. So Model 23s can be all over this place for quality. So here's one here. I think this was, it's a Tennessee. This is a 70s issue, probably built in Hong Kong. And it's kind of fallen apart. Like, it actually has all these little cracks in it. Brand new in the box. It was never used. They had something wrong with their annealing process of their brass. And it didn't really, I guess when they stamped it, you're supposed to heat it again. And I don't know if that was done correctly, and they all split. So don't do any of the Hong Kong ones. They're really not that good. Here's a Model 23. This is a England model, and it works, and it's a much better producer. Like, everything fits nicer. Parts don't interchange on 23s very well from different countries. From the same country, yes. And this one here has the the locks on gallery. They're also available with the finger type gallery for the heelless. So this is a heel type or locks on. Nothing wrong with that. They do crack some locks-ons from time to time. So Alladin a few years ago decided when they produced the new Max Bright 500, like right here, that that they would go to a finger style or heelless as such, and it tends to not crack the. And I don't know, I think it looks a little bit more traditional too. Works very well. And that's pretty much what I burn. I pretty much burn only these guys now. And I put these in on old lamps. So you can take one of these, for example, buy one of these from, let's say, Lehman. Somebody asked me, like, sell me a lamp. And by the time I ship it to him, and by the time he buys the pieces to make it work, which is basically you're going to need a new wick, a new mantle, and a chimney. And by the way, these new chimneys they got out now are probably the best they've ever been built. Better than the old ones. But by the time you buy a used lamp for, let's say, $50 at the flea market, and you buy a wick and a mantle and a chimney, you can spend another $75. Lehman's pretty much sells this lamp here, like what's in my hand. It's $149 in clear font. That comes with a chimney, a mantle, and a wick. $149, and I don't have shares in Lehman's, but I wish them. I bought 3 or 4 in the last few years. I like using them, and I put that in a floor lamp, an old style floor lamp, and I just put the font somewhere else. So I burn that one quite regularly. So I mean, so you're probably better off buying one of the new ones, and if you want to put it into a table lamp, I mean, you can buy these Washington drapes for $30, $40 locally, even with an old style bee burner on them, and you can just swap it out and use one of these as a table lamp. And I always use clear glass or lightly colored glass for any lamp I use, so I can see, hey, it's time to fill it. If you run them low, then you're going to burn your wick, and you'll end up shortening your wick. So big thing with the new 23s, they do the new Max Bright 500s, I should say, they do warm up quicker. You still have to put them on like half for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you can get them up to about 95 to 100% in short time. So that kind of covers like quick identification. There's going to be, of course, lots of resources out there. There's tons of good websites that show burner recognition. So if you can't afford those books right off the bat, then you can use the online resources to check your burner type. So I recommend Model 23s. So if you can buy a lamp that's 10 or 15 years old and buy it for $15, and if it needs a wick and a mantle, no big deal. They're readily available. Wicks and mantles are real easy to come across. You can get them pretty much anywhere on the internet, and Lehman's of course has them. So that's what I kind of recommend. 23 or new. Yes, you can run the bees. I find that the bee wicks cost a bit more, like a couple dollars more per each. Not a big deal, but I basically just collect the old ones and burn the new ones now. So that's really all I have to say on burner types. Just find something local, usually Craigslist. Ontario here, we use Kijiji to sell them, and there's probably 100 on there right now, usually the common ones. So you're going to find the Washington drapes, or the, if you take a look up there, there's a whole stack of tall Lincoln drapes. Those are all old formula styles. So those are worth a little bit more than the regular ones, and they glow green, of course, under black light. But if you're in Ontario and you're looking for a lamp, you can find me on Kijiji. Or if not, just drop a line here. I typically go away for the summer and come back, and I start doing this all winter. So if you're looking for parts or you need some help on something, just drop me a line. Thank you, and have yourself a great day.